So when I was 19, 18, something like that, 19 years old, brown belt, I imagine training with Hoist, my uncle. All I wanted to do was tap Hoist. Why do I want to tap Hoist? Because, of course, ultimate fighting champion of the world, right?
The same reason I want to tap you.
Correct. Keep wanting it, okay? So, of course, I want to beat Hoist. Hoist, this, that. So, I'm rolling with Hoist.
Right. And
in a 5-minute sparring match, I'm losing like 5-6 times every minute. And I'm hungry, and I'm losing. I'm going, losing. Every day. One day my grandmother says, Ryron, stop trying to beat Hoist. Completely stop trying to beat Hoist. Just don't lose anymore. That's it. Stop trying to beat Hoist. Just don't lose. Once he said that right there, it was over. I went from losing 5 times in 5 minutes to rolling for 25 minutes, 20 minutes, not losing once. So this jump in my technique,
your personal growth,
my growth, this growth was like over a 20-minute sparring session. I went from a brown belt to a black belt mindset and just training way in minutes.
Right. You didn't learn any new techniques.
I didn't learn anything new. I just accepted, I just didn't try to win. There's no more winning. Just don't lose. And why is this so amazing? It's because, why was I losing so much?
Why was you getting tapped out 5 times in 5 minutes?
Because I was trying to win.
Wow.
So by trying to win, I was exposing myself. By trying to grab him and control and trying to go for this, go for that, my legs, my arms, everything's reaching out, and I'm losing. I said, forget this. I don't want anything anymore. And I just chilled. And I was able to then see his attacks coming from all angles, and here I am today.
We call it the survival mindset. And it's so fascinating because
it's like the mindset of Jiu-Jitsu.
Oh man, it's the mindset. In our opinion, it is the greatest difference between the traditional Japanese Jiu-Jitsu and Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. It's the main thing. It's what our grandfather, it's the most valuable aspect and component that our grandfather instilled in the art. People always ask, what's the difference? What techniques did your grandfather create and modify and adapt? And although he did many of those, because he was so weak that they relied so much on strength, he had to modify for his frail physique. The most significant modification to the art was the implementation of a survival mindset, of a mindset that any fight or confrontation you get into, the number one objective isn't victory or to defeat your opponent in a hurry. The number one objective is to avoid defeat at all costs. If you don't lose, you will eventually win.
Yes.
That's our grandfather believed that sincerely. It's that mindset that enabled our grandfather to defeat giants who outweighed him by up to 100 pounds on several occasions. It's that mindset that enabled our grandfather to survive against Masahiko Kimura, the Japanese champion, right, who was 80 pounds heavier, much stronger. He survived for 13 minutes, which I don't think anyone had ever done. I mean, he was 140 pounds when he did it. He fought for 3 hours and 40 minutes, 1 round nonstop. If he was trying to win, he would have exhausted and exposed himself the whole time. So it's so funny that that's the most fundamental thing of the entire art, the most important thing, yet until a brown belt, you were overlooking that in your own growth, and you needed someone to tell you to kind of, hey, someone had to check you, basically.
And it's easy to be, until a brown belt, but I was 18, 19 years old. So at 18, 19, you think you're everything,
Yeah.
I'm 19, I'm Ryron, I'm the best.
Right.
Now, think about you and I, like when Rener and I train, we roll for 10 minutes, and we're trying to kill each other.
Yeah.
And we might get 1 submission, 2 for him, 1 for me, 2 for me, whatever, 1 or 2 each. If one of us went on 100% defense mode, that wouldn't happen anymore. One would be attacking the whole time, and one would be only defending, surviving.
And the one who's attacking the whole time would be pretty tired too. Going. I mean, we both exhaust, but yeah, it's so major. There would be no submissions. But because we like keep it playful, keep it moving, we'll go for it and we'll attack each other. But if someone walked in the gym right now, right, just some beast, 6'4", 300 pounds, shaved head, huge beard, okay, came in right now, what would our mindset be? We wouldn't think to ourselves, okay, how quickly are we going to defeat this guy right here? Not at all. We would think, it is impossible, or my behaviors will make victory impossible for him. You see the mindset? My behaviors and my movements will make, and my mindset will make victory unachievable for him. That means surviving the punches, closing the distance, right? Defending, letting them waste their energy, giving no opportunities for anything. And then we trust that in time, the opportunity will come for us to win.
Or what about this? I'm curious to see if I just play defense with this monster for 30 minutes. I'm curious to see how he can submit me.
Right.
I don't even want to win. I just want to see if he can catch me. I'm just going to survive for 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And then if I lose, I learn something. But I'm just surviving.
So major. Basically, the quickest way to lose is to try to win.
And you know, and everybody, that's the thing, is that you think
the quickest way to get knocked out is to try to knock somebody out.
You think that you have to win. Right? Because what is Jiu-Jitsu about? Like,
winning the fight.
It's about winning the fight.
Your opponent.
But it's just not about winning the fight. It's about self-defense. It's about protecting yourself, defending yourself.
Right.
So everybody learns an arm lock. We learn a choke, a leg lock, a shoulder lock, whatever. And you want to use it. Mm-hmm. You want to win. You want to your validity, who you are, and your belt, your purple belt, your brown belt, maintaining your belt. It's all about winning.
Yeah, of course it does matter. When I go with the blue belt, or a purple belt, I'm not so concerned with the survival mindset. Although I will put myself in the inferior position to defend and practice my survival, so that when I do go against Ryron, my survival skills are sharp. Of course, it depends on who you're rolling with, And the key is it has to exist in you, though. The number one problem we find with focusing on the sportive jiu-jitsu or even the MMA aspect of martial arts, okay? The number one problem with this sportive training mindset, be it sport jiu-jitsu or MMA, is that you have to abandon this defensive mindset, the survival mindset that makes this art so unique and that has enabled the Gracie family to defeat giants for 3 generations and will enable any jiu-jitsu student to defeat a larger opponent today, whether it be you or any one of our students here. The survival mindset is what makes that possible. But when you train for a sportive setting, guess what? Nobody wants to see you survive. Someone wants to see you win. So you have to impose that on yourself and say, okay, I'm going to win. So if we were training our students for a sport, tournaments, we would set the clock for 5 minutes or 7 minutes and say, okay, on your mark, get set, go. And whoever attacks more and dominates more is going to win. So when the person's on the bottom, they're not thinking survival. They're thinking, let me get out and let me dominate. Let me dominate. Let me get on top. Let me go. So guess what? They train like that every day. 5-minute round. Go, 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 go. At 10s. Get on top. Get on top. Get on top. Then they get into a street fight. And they're on the bottom of the street fight against this giant. And they think to themselves, I've got to get out right now and I've got to win this fight. I've got to go, 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 go. MMA, I've got to knock this guy out in a hurry. Yeah, they get knocked out, they get smashed, they get headlocked. We've heard stories of students who, training in the sportive aspect of the arts, were completely shocked by how different that was from the real fight. So we just try to keep it real in every sense, And this is so important. The survival mindset is so important that we have stepped away from encouraging our students to participate or even focus on sportive preparation, because in order to do so, they must abandon that mindset. And that's been really the trade-off here. And, we know that we get a lot of criticism, right, for not having students perform very amazing in sportive tournaments, but we kind of are confident and are happy knowing that we're training the weakest people and the least athletic individuals out there to be able to get into a street fight and not expose themselves because they have the defensive mindset. And that doesn't mean they're not going to win the fight. That just means they understand that there is an order of priorities, which is survive first and win second. Yeah. And most other martial arts don't have that. They don't. Other martial arts. Punch him in the face, kick him. Yeah. You basically, other
Go
martial
for the
arts,
kill.
you go for the kill, and everyone talks about how fast and aggressive and go. Win the fight, throw and smash and punch and knock him out.
Other martial arts get their hype from being able to defeat somebody
in the least amount of time
and
possible.
kill somebody quick.
Yeah, it's so
I've heard people say how they can just, with one touch, hit you in the throat and kill you.
Yet no other martial art has the track record of success over 80 years against larger opponents as Jiu-Jitsu has. So any other martial art, I don't care what it is, show me a series of fights where representatives of those arts have defeated even unskilled, larger opponents, stronger, faster, more athletic opponents. Name it. One martial artist, or even one martial art. That
Even a whole family of martial artists.
It hasn't happened. So Jiu-Jitsu, because of this patient mindset that the grandmaster, our grandfather, instilled in the art, because of that, has been successful against giants for many years. Now that the whole world is learning Jiu-Jitsu, it changes the game a little bit because we both know what's coming, we're both patient, we're both waiting, so it's a more, like MMA sport of comparison of athletes. But still, there's no art that has the proven record against larger opponents in a street fight setting, in a no-rules setting, than Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. Fact.
The other day on I think it was Sunday or something, I rolled with a friend of mine, a couple friends who do MMA, professional fighters, and amateurs, all mixed up. I mounted a kid, amateur kid, and when I mounted the kid fought for like 3.5 minutes to escape the mount. Escape.
And what were you doing?
I was controlling.
You're super low.
Controlling. And then I kind of let him out. We kept rolling. But because it was a Sunday and it wasn't an official class, there was just no time. We ended up rolling. I even caught the kid once or twice. We just kept rolling. And all of a sudden it was like, man, it's been 35 minutes. Or even less. It was like 25 minutes. The kid was completely done, exhausted, dead. I'm side mounted or mounted. Just get off me, Hidon, please, tapping out. And I'm thinking to myself, man, I can roll for an hour because there was no pressure. Anytime he mounted me or side mounted me, it was like, great, no big deal. Go ahead, do your attack a little bit. Let me practice my defense. But when it was reversed and I mounted or side mounted my friend, it was complete non-acceptance of what was happening.
Right.
So his gas tank went like, gone. So it was just amazing how he could not detach from the MMA, from the competition,
from the offensive
rules on a Sunday when I just said, like, just roll. No timer, no one here, just roll, just us. Just play around.
Yeah.
Killed himself.
So major. And
Don't shoot yourself, okay?
so what about this question? Most common question regarding the survival mindset. Because we're talking 20 minutes, 30 minutes. What would I do? Grandfather fought for 4 hours, 3 hours and 40 minutes. The most common question and criticism of this mindset is, what street fight lasts for 30 minutes? What street fight lasts for an hour? Street fight lasts for 30 seconds at most. And I agree with that. 30 seconds, a minute. It's most common that it's going to be done in a minute or two.
Why? Because both people want to kill each other, one gets knocked out.
Correct. Or it gets broken up or whatever. Correct. So being that most street fights won't last more than 2 minutes, why is it essential that you adopt the survival mindset? Just say, no, let me just win the fight in a hurry.
No, just survive for 2 minutes. Let the fight get broken up.
Yeah, exactly. Number one, if you're fighting a much larger opponent and you don't lose the fight, meaning you defend your face and you don't get hurt, you don't break any bones and you don't break your face, if you fight a larger opponent and that is the end result, they can't hurt you, guess who won the fight? You. Number one. Number two, let's put it this way, if the fight's going to last for 30 seconds and you don't adopt the survival mindset, let's say you tell yourself, I'm going to win this fight in 30 seconds.
You're exposing yourself 100 times more
Dude, crazy!
than if you had the defensive mindset.
That is why you need the defensive mindset. So if we got in a fight tomorrow and we knew the fight was only going to last 30 seconds, we wouldn't tell ourselves, okay, let's abandon survival mindset, the Grandmaster's mindset, and let's try to knock this guy out in a hurry because we only have 30 seconds. If you have that mindset, the chance of you getting knocked out is 50%. 50-50.
The defensive mindset is just so you don't get beat up. It's just so you don't lose the fight.
Yeah, and it's so
So
funny.
therefore, if you don't want to lose, you have to have this mindset.
Yeah, exactly. It's what it is. So it's not like, it's not like you can abandon the survival mindset and have a surefire victory. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. And that's one of the biggest illusions of martial arts, is that there's a perfect punch, kick combo that's going to knock out your opponent no matter what. It doesn't exist. The only thing that is even close to guaranteed is your safety if you adopt the survival mindset. Everything else is an illusion.
And the survival mindset is so boring though. Right? It's just so like cool. I just laying around just defending forever.
It's not as boring as your face getting smashed in.
I don't want to let someone just dominate me and attack me and throw a punch, be on the defensive side the whole time. I want to show that I'm a man too. Or that I'm a good fighter or a good martial artist. I want to go forward and attack a little bit.
Yeah, it's so funny. Wow. How? Basically,
It's the mind.
It's the counterattack strategy, to give it another name. It's the idea that let your partner expose their attack while you just fend it off, and then use it against them, rather than trying to come at them with a full barrage of aggression. And it's so incredibly important that you understand that so many arts preach this. Go! Kill your opponent! Strikes and aggressive, and it all sounds good in theory.
Be so aggressive.
Poke him in the eye.
Overwhelm them with attacks.
Punch him in the trachea. Overwhelm him with attacks, right? Every art claims that. I mean, so many, right? If you ask me what the number one differentiating variable is between Jiu-Jitsu and everything else, is Jiu-Jitsu can ensure your survival and safety against a larger opponent more than any other art. Guess what? And in ensuring your survival, it can almost, in turn, ensure your victory.
Yeah.
Because once you don't lose,
you can only win.
Yes. The problem is when you tell yourself you have to win right now, you make that equal opportunity for him to defeat you right now. Even an amateur, unskilled opponent can knock you out if you try to impose yourself on him.
Why didn't any other martial art think of this?
Because they didn't have the grandmaster, who is frail. All the other martial arts are based on little tough guys who are good athletes and are very proficient and very flexible and fast and strong. Our grandfather had no choice but to fight giants and survive. Now, sometimes he would survive for 30 seconds and win right away. So that's the thing. Don't think that because we're not attacking in a hurry, openly and carelessly, that doesn't mean we don't want to win the fight. Trust me when we tell you, we can defeat street fight opponents as fast, if not faster, than most of the other striking arts. Because we'll survive very quick, and as soon as we survive for 10 or 20 seconds, maybe that means just getting a clinch, or maybe that means getting him in our guard, or maybe that means clinching, mounting, and just staying low, neutralizing the punches. As soon as we survive for 30 seconds, we learn his patterns. And once we identify their patterns, boom, they get arm locked. So we can win fights just as fast as anyone else. But it still doesn't change our order of priorities. It's always have to be the priority. As soon as victory becomes your number one priority, or defeating them with a technique or a strike or whatever becomes the number one priority, you violate the fundamental principle and survival mindset, which is basically what Gracie Jiu-Jitsu is. So everyone always asks in the university, when are we going to learn how to strike? When are we going to learn that punch or that kick that's going to knock that person out? Do we need strikes? And the answer is the strikes you will see throughout the curriculum are always going to be used to enhance the techniques you already know, ensure your safety, but most importantly, they're going to be done without exposing yourself in return. That's our biggest concern. Strikes are very aggressive, and when you become aggressive, you expose yourself. Look at all the champions in MMA. They knock someone out today, they get knocked out tomorrow. It's back and it's forth, and it's back and forth. And it's always because they want to win in a hurry. Okay? Patient defensive strategy is the best way to ensure victory. It's so interesting. Going for victory and immediate offense is the best way to ensure defeat against a larger opponent, stronger, more athletic than you. And focusing entirely on the survival and defensive aspect is the fastest way to achieve victory and the most reliable way to achieve victory. For what it's worth, the survival mindset. The most important thing to take from this is that even though it can enable you to fight for 30 minutes or an hour, the survival mindset can do that for you. Street fights aren't going to last that long, but you still want to have the survival mindset when you go into them. Don't think I want to get this over with in a hurry. As soon as you do that, you expose yourself, and then it's a 50-50 toss-up at that point. And that's the number one mistake we see from our students. If they get in a fight, our number one concern is that our students who get in a fight are going to basically want to impose themselves in a hurry, and in doing so, they're going to lose. And why do they want to get why do people, when they get in a fight, get so eager to win in such a hurry?
The same reason why I wanted to defeat Hoist. Ego? Yeah. I wanted to be more. I wanted to be more recognized. Like, yeah, I can beat him or whatever.
Right. Instead, you just got yourself defeated a whole bunch. And and the funny part is, when you didn't lose to Hoist, that was the biggest victory for you.
The biggest lesson of my life was that right there. It was those 2 sentences. And in 20 minutes, I went from here to here, a whole different level, a whole different playing field.
The survival mindset. It's what enabled Hoist to defeat Dan Severn, the giant wrestler, who everyone thought was impossible. It enabled Hoist to defeat Kimo, and enabled Hiron to survive against Hoist. It enabled Hickson to defeat Zulu. You know, anytime there was a major mismatch, it enabled the little guy to beat the big guy. Now, the problem is, when you're fighting someone your same size, the ego takes over. And I'm thinking, wow, this guy ain't that big. This guy ain't that swole. Let me just smash on him. So you step up and you start swinging punches wildly. Then this little guy who's your size or smaller swings an ugly punch. And click, down you go. Boom. And while you're going down, while you're dazed in midair, you're going down, you're thinking, wow, I underestimated him. Boom, and you fall. Okay? Everyone who throws a punch can be dangerous. Close the distance. Protect your face. Avoid the punches. And when we say survive in a street fight, what we really mean is don't get knocked out. Now, against Hoist, surviving for Hiron was a different story. It was don't get arm locked, don't get choked. But the principle is the same. It's do everything possible to prevent their attack resources from occurring or taking effect against you. And in a street fight, that mostly means prevent punches. What else? Headlocks, guillotines. Those are the most common street attacks. Survival mindset. It is Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. For you not to accept this means you're not accepting the full benefit of the art. If you get in a fight with a giant one day,
this is the only way. This is the advice that you just heard us give you right now. You're not going to take this in. You're going to keep training for another 3 years, 4 years, whatever. 3 or 4 or 5 years down the road, it's going to click.
Yes.
You're going to realize it, and you're going to say, wow, I wish I would have started trying to adopt that philosophy, that mindset, back when Hiron and Rener said it when I first watched them talk about it. So it's okay, we don't expect you to adopt this right now.
Right.
But when you do adopt it 3 or 4 years from now, let us know how long it took you to register what we're saying.
Become invincible. Okay? Get to the point where you don't expose yourself and you're unbeatable. That's your mindset. You'll never reach that point. But that doesn't mean you don't aim for it. Okay? Because we're all human, we all make mistakes. But aim for invincibility with your training partners, and guess what? One day when you're out in the streets, that's how I look at it. On the streets, I think to myself, I don't care what giant it is, how is this person going to threaten me more than Hiron does? And Hiron knows everything about me, ins and outs. How is he going to threaten me? He can't. And that's my confidence going into the fight. I don't go into the fight thinking, wow, look at that huge guy. I'm going to smash on him in a hurry. I'm going to impose my will on him. I don't think that. I think, how is this guy going to threaten me? That's what my grandfather thought. When he fought Kimura, he knew he couldn't beat Kimura. Yet he still agreed to fight Kimura in front of 90,000 people and the president of Brazil, even though he knew he wasn't going to win. But guess what? He wanted to pay to see how Kimura would beat him. He wanted to keep testing and proving and verifying his invincibility. Now, he got caught, but guess what? It took much longer than anyone, including my grandfather and Kimura, ever thought it would take. So it was a huge victory in itself. Okay? Survivability, survival mindset, become invincible, and you have nothing to worry about. But until then, now the reason you're going to violate this principle before a street fight is ego. You're going to tell yourself, I want to hurt him right now, and the fastest way to hurt someone is what? The fastest way to hurt someone is to punch him. And you're going to get knocked out in return. So control the ego, and the survival mindset can live. Here we go.